Hi guys, welcome back to the new James Bond show with your host Krazy Kajeevie with no fears, limits or substitutes. The bad boy of James Bond is back. It's been a couple of weeks guys, so hello and welcome back to the channel. Just wanted to do a bit of an interesting video here. Now, as anyone knows, I personally do not want to see the return of Daniel Craig, and without going in any spoilers, it's pretty obvious if you have seen No Time to Die that Daniel Craig's reincarnation, iteration, whatever you want to call it, of James Bond will not be returning. Or, for the Daniel Craig fans, is that really the case? Now, the one person that will probably never ever watch this video, but the same one person that would love this idea, and a lot of you are probably saying, Kajeevie, shh, don't give Babs any ideas. But the one person who would probably love this video is Barbara Broccoli herself, because she's got wet panties for Daniel Craig and is just obsessed with Daniel Craig, loves him. When she goes, you all know, when she goes to bed at night, she puts her head down on the pillow and she says, oh, if I open my eyes, I can see my boyfriend, because she looks up and there's a poster of Daniel Craig in his Casino Royale wet trunks above her bedpost. There's no doubt about that at all. So, Babsy Wabsy is going to love this idea. And of course, you Daniel Craig fans out there will love it too. My idea is, yes, and being a former filmmaker, producer, writer, director, my film idea is this. Daniel Craig can return as James Bond, no questions asked, 100%. Easy peasy, it's easy done. How crazy is this possible? Easily. 2006 Casino Royale. You got 2008 Quantum of Solace. Even though there was a 2-year gap in the producing of those two films, they were the same film. They were the same story. That's what we were told anyway. So Quantum of Solace being a direct sequel to Casino Royale. Okay, we all agree on that. That's the case. It starts about an hour after. So what happens after all that? We get Skyfall in 2012. Now, from 2008's Quantum of Solace to 2012 Skyfall, there's a 4-year period. But, did you know, when you think about it, there's actually a 6-year period from Quantum of Solace to Skyfall. How? Well, easy, because Casino Royale is set in 2006. Quantum of Solace is the sequel to it, so it's literally supposed to happen within the same day to the same week. So those two films were 2006 based, even though obviously they shot Quantum of Solace as a sequel 2 years later, which films often do. So we've got, when you look at that from the timeline, the actual filmic character timeline, we've got a 6-year gap. And we see an old, almost ready for retiring James Bond in Skyfall, only 4 years later, but of course in the timeline, 6 years later. And there's clearly a massive gap between Daniel Craig's, the aging they've done for him. I mean, at the start of Skyfall, they've aged him up. And missions. We're now told that Daniel Craig's James Bond is an old dog. Can he learn new tricks? Mallory is about to come in. Mallory's telling him, you know, it's not too late to admit you've lost a step and to retire. And we're fed throughout that whole film, and it's why I'm not a big fan of Skyfall, as anyone knows. I think it's an overrated, convoluted, beautiful looking mess. That's what I think it is. I think it's a very overrated James Bond film, and I think people are actually tricked into liking Skyfall, and it's why I like Spectre, because Spectre, to me, is a real James Bond film. But that for another video, because I want to do a definitive video when I get all the editing equipment and everything set up. I am going to do a definitive video on why Skyfall is so overrated. I will do that one day. So, how do they do this? How do they bring Daniel Craig back? Now, first of all, and I'm going to get to the technical and story aspects in a moment, but first of all, you throw a lot of money at Daniel Craig, right? Which has always happened. You give him money. He comes back. But how do you do it? First things first, you come up with a fantastic script that is no more than around 70 to 80 pages, because then you look at that for a minute and a half roughly per page to screen time, and you make the film short. You make it no longer than say 115 minutes, right? 115, 120 minutes, 120 minutes tops, and you make it a fantastic story. Now you can do it standalone, because Daniel Craig would probably like that, or you can do it to the point where it's semi-standalone and then you include certain points of Spectre involving a cameo appearance by Blofeld, Christoph Waltz Blofeld, and you have him having a meeting or meetings with Mr. White, so you join that continuation up. But you can also give Bond a separate new villain, but you see the Spectre and the Quantum players in the background involved with, say, the new enemy, but you keep them to a minimum, but it ties everything up. So here's the key factor how this is done, because you're thinking, wait a minute, Daniel Craig is 53 years of age. Yes, he is. This is how you do it. You de-age him. So you hire the actor, you hire Daniel Craig and the other actors. Javier Bardem, I'd bring him back, because really tie him in just to when, before we see him being involved with Skyfall as the villain there. And we can have a scene with Mr. White, with Silver, and especially Silver and Blofeld having a meeting with all of them, all of those who are still alive. So obviously not Liz Schiffer, obviously not Dominic Green at this stage, because the film's coming after Quantum of Solace. So what you can have from there is you can have Blofeld, Mr. White, Silver, etc. in there. That's how you do it, and you de-age them. And you just use brilliant CGI technology that we have today, de-age Daniel Craig's James Bond, which can be done so easily, especially when you've got the actual actor there. So it's not like in Rogue One where they're doing Grand Moff Tarkin, an actor, who was it, Peter Cushing, who died years earlier, and they're bringing him back and they have to replace everything. This wouldn't be as difficult. You've got the actor there and you're basically de-aging them through the computer. That is how you bring back. Now, how you bring back Daniel Craig as James Bond to fit in that timeline so he's not aged. Then we get a Bond. What I would be doing here is a Bond 26 and a Bond, if I was going with this idea, Bond 26 and Bond 27, shoot them 2 years apart, just short, simple script story, again, drawn from kind of what you've got there, but still standalone. And then you've got the two films in between, which shows two completely separate stories of what happened, overly separate, between Quantum of Solace and Skyfall. And that is how you bring Daniel Craig back as James Bond. Now, some fans may not like this. I understand it. I'm actually one of them that want a completely fresh start, and I would love to see either Nicholas Hoult, Aidan Turner, Henry Cavill come back, come and be James Bond. Of course, my number one choice is Matthew Good, but I don't think that's sadly ever going to happen. So, guys, that is what I'm thinking. We de-age Daniel Craig, we get him to come back, and we do basically the lost Daniel Craig James Bond films, because there's lost stories in there. When you look at it from a character arc, there's definitely lost stories that we never got. Let me know, guys, in the comments below what you think of the idea, or has Krazy gone too crazy for this one? If you've enjoyed this video, guys, please smash the like button. Don't forget, please hit that like button, helps the channel grow, and also subscribe if you haven't. And Krazy is coming back at you lots and lots over not only the next 48 hours, but over really the next 24 hours. I'm going to be doing lots of videos. The next one coming up will be a video on who I think, shock horror, total surprise, no one will guess this, the director who I believe should direct Bond 26. Now that's, of course, if they're not so much doing the Daniel Craig era period, like bringing him back to do a prequel from No Time to Die sort of thing. But this director, he could direct, even if they went that way, he could direct the next Bond film. But if they do a standalone James Bond film, I think this idea I have, who I'm not going to say now, none of you have thought of it. I guarantee you, no one in the Bond community has thought of him because no one sees him as a film director, and they're wrong. They just see him as something else. But this guy should come. I was going to be careful what I say there. I don't want to give a name away. I'll just say this man, who I'm going to do a video about later on today in a few hours' time, should direct the new James Bond film. Till next time, guys, keep on bonding. Say hi to your mum for me. And I got nothing else. I haven't done a video for a few weeks. Is that it? Is that how I end these videos? Oh, okay. Say hi to your mum for me. That'll do. Ladies, bye.